Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've been riveted to the news today. And in fact, since Trump first got into office, both times I have been glued to the news. I mean, it's just so exciting. So many, disasters each day. All these politicians just, blindfolded and going into disaster after disaster, making the world a worse place for everybody in it. It's just crazy, isn't it? So today in the UK, because the Epstein files, were released the other day, so everyone's going nutty over in the UK, and people are, having to consider their futures. I mean, I do feel slightly sorry for people who've had it so good all their lives that they've been, living in the lap of luxury, seduced by all that glitters and, just completely and utterly in that. And then suddenly, when they're of a certain age, it's all gone. No, I do feel sorry for them. Serves them right. Imagine the shock. Imagine the shock. I mean, I don't suppose they're going to be living in council houses in, terrible areas in the middle of a council estate where crime is rife. I mean, they're not going to put Prince Andrew there, are they? Is he Prince Andrew anymore? No, he's not, is he? He's Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor or whatever it is. And the same with Mendelssohn, who's been very, very much a sort of high flyer in his time. And now he's had to step down from the Lords, and I assume no one will touch him with a barge pole. But I mean, I'm guessing these people still have loads of money, and it doesn't. Yes, it must be heartbreaking for them, but then they shouldn't have done it in the first place, obviously. But I'm sure they've got a nest egg tucked away somewhere, and I'm sure it doesn't really make that much difference to their standard of living. Yes, to their notoriety, and it must be, devastating, actually, to have your reputation like that ruined. I could just, imagine, I've had a ruined reputation several times in my life, and the reputation wasn't really much to ruin. Do you see what I mean? I didn't have far to fall. And that was hard enough. So imagine if you're way up there and you fall all that way down. That must be, really odd. Anyway, I'm still hoping that one of our journalists will find something in there, something that hasn't been redacted, that indicates that His Royal Highness Trump can maybe, finally get his just desserts. I don't think it's going to happen, is it? Because for whatever reason, if you're the president if you're the president of the USA and the leader of the free world, you are going to make sure that nothing gets out, aren't you? You're going to have the power, the money, the influence to do that. So anyway, yeah, really exciting. So in other news, my mother, we all thought she had cancer some time ago, and we had to go to hospitals and checks and what have you. And it's gallstones. So on the one hand, relief, but on the other hand, like, ooh, what are they? So I've looked them up, guys. So if you've got a curiosity about gallstones, funny enough, I did have a bit of one because many, many years ago I had pleurisy, and it was an extreme pain under sort of my ribs and going back to my shoulders, which is not dissimilar to what I've got now with my intercostal, or whatever it's called, muscle strain. But it's very similar to gallbladder pain. So Mum had this sort of niggling gallbladder pain, but didn't know what it was, had to go and have all sorts of things shoved up and shoved down and God knows what. And it's come back, the X-ray. They were very concerned it was cancer. But, she's going to go on forever. I really do think that. I wonder if she might outlive me. I mean, I'm going to be most annoyed if my mother outlives me. But, of course, I won't know anything about it, hopefully. Hopefully I won't be sitting on a cloud filled with resentment that she got longer than I did. But, the natural order of things is that I will live longer. Let's just pretend that that's going to happen. But, yeah, I don't think Mum's going to probably be plagued with these little things. Although gallstones isn't a little thing as such, I'll tell you what they do. They can do it, basically, if it's starting to hurt you or bother you, then you can elect to have it out. and it is quite dangerous if you leave it. So they can, basically the gallstones can move and they can block the ducts that come out. Your blood comes out of these ducts, and if it's blocked, then you're in a sorry state. We don't need the gallbladder to survive, and it's a fairly straightforward operation, but it is 3 days in hospital. So, I don't think anything that invades your stomach area is something to be trifled with. I think it's all, it's where you cough, all those muscles when you're coughing, and when you're standing and twisting and walking around, this area, when you have a piece of surgery like that, it affects your torso is what engages in your whole body, and your every move you make is sort of torso centered, isn't it? Your core, even speaking and laughing and coughing, it's all engages with your core. And if you've had surgery, whether it's keyhole or open, it's going to really hurt. So she's sort of thinking about it at the moment, and she's slightly undecided. Anyway, poor mum. She used to love, about a year ago, brandy at breakfast. 11 o'clock. Sorry, she'd kill me for saying that. She'd have a brandy and a coffee at 11 o'clock every day, and then she'd, enjoy cake and wine. Okay, well, nearly every day. And, just sort of enjoy life a bit. And she'd say things like, oh, I'm too old to bother with things like that. And, oh, I just want to have fun now. But, the weight was piling on a bit. So then she had very high blood pressure. So that was really frightening because, of course, that's the silent killer. So she went on a diet, and she's done really well. I'm a bit of a fitness freak, so I'm always on a diet, but it's a muscle diet, so I'm on a different type of diet. But she lost loads of weight, and now she's been sort of, just a little teaspoon of olive oil here and there, but now she can't have any oil. The doctor said no oil anywhere. Do not ingest, because the oil is what causes or can cause these gallstones. So, yeah, poor mum. She's actually on a more restricted diet than I am. So, very disappointed. But, as I say, I think she'll be living a very long life. And it's important to get these things seen to, I think. You don't want to be, walking along, minding your own business, ignoring your gallstones. And they said plural. So they didn't say gallstone, they said gallstones. But the doctor did say that they won't really know the state of play until they get in there. And this is what I've always said about surgery. They guesstimate. There's so much the radiographer can pick up. There's so much the doctor can deduce. But it's not until they get in amongst it that they can see the size of these things. And quite often they don't see anything, and then they go in there and they find something. So, it's almost, in a way, important to get in there. Do you see what I mean? So if I was her, I'd wait a couple of weeks to get over the shock of the process that they used to find her gallstones in the first place. And then, say to my doctor, well, look, I'm going to get it over and done with. Because, of course, the younger you are, and she's 83, the easier the op. If she waits till there's a blockage and she's rushed in and she's not fit and healthy, or do you know what I mean? Perhaps she's been ill for a few weeks or something like that, and then bang, that's it. It doesn't take much, does it? So the younger you are, I would say, get it all done, and hope. Then after that, hope for the best. So, but yes, I've got my eye surgery first. So in about 3 weeks' time, I'm going to have my eyes done. And I've been crazy today. I moved all the computer and everything, set up the webcam for my Zoomy sessions for people who want private meditation or physical therapy sessions, dance movement for the I was going to sort of say over 70s, but actually, do you know what? I know quite a lot of over 60s who are in such bad shape that maybe they'd benefit from coming. And I was going to say women only, but the men I know, and when men are a certain age, they are so difficult to get motivated. And maybe me in a catsuit could do it. Yeah. So I'm looking at my costumes. I'm thinking, yeah, catsuit, but with my artwork on. I thought that would be really good. So I'm going to see if I can find a printing company who would do that. So sort of lycra with my designs on. I've got some great designs that would really look, sort of psychedelic type thing. That's where my head's going at the moment. I don't know if I'll end up with that. I bought a pair of blue chiffon harem pants the other day, and they look absolutely gorgeous. But I'm loath to get into that, that kind of that sort of dippy hippie crystal woman thing. And if I wear clothes that are too hippy dippy, people will automatically assume that I'm like that, and I'm so not that woman. I'm really not that woman. I like the city. I don't like the country. It's not true. I love the country. Am I lying to myself? No, I'm a sort of part-time hippie, I think, is probably the way to go. Very occasionally I feel meditative and at one with the universe, and I feel like, I want to, but then very soon afterwards I'm like, oh no, I need to go to Soho and catch up with some friends or some such thing, and, get back to the hub of the city. But I suppose the luxury of being now and me and us and, where we don't have quite the same work commitments perhaps, or children to look after or things like that, is that you can actually do that. You can actually go off for the day to the country. You can actually go off for the day to the city. I'm in a weird place because I'm in a marina, which is kind of neither nor, isn't it? It's not the city and it's not the country. It's a coastal town. Coastal towns have a completely different ambience. They're a sort of they're something other than rural or urban, aren't they? They're and I love living in a marina. It's really good. I love the sound of the yachts when they're in the when they're moored and they're all rattling in the wind. I love that, and I love the sea. And I've lived on a coast in a seaside town most of my life, and I do miss the sea actually when I go away. But also I love to go to Soho, and also absolutely love to visit the country every now and then for drawing and photographing and colouring in and all those things. Anyway, that's enough talk of gallstones. I just wanted to share the gallstones with you because they're really interesting. I mean, the human body, what next is going to pop up that's wrong with my family? I will let you know.